Hey, this is Pastor Curry, pastor of the Zion Fair Baptist Church, Wilmington's most exciting church, the church that love ya and anything you can do about it. Today with Coffee with Curry, we're bringing back Coach Stan Waterman. You all heard him earlier this year. He was going down to the Delaware State University to be the big coach down there, and he has had some true success, not only measured in wins, but really in building the character and putting the foundational bricks there. So why don't you call somebody, tell them Coffee with Curry is on, and let's get after it. And we're back. Well, as I indicated to you that I'm so grateful to have Coach Stan Waterman with us today. It has been a season, and we had an opportunity to talk with him when he first got the position, and we were all excited about him taking over Delaware State, and we're still excited about him taking over Del State. I feel, Coach, that you're doing a phenomenal job, but I wanted to bring you back so that the community will see that, one, you are our champion when you left. You are a champion during your first season. You are a champion now that the season is over. But I just wanted to have a little conversation with you.
Well, thank you, Pastor. I appreciate it and really appreciate the opportunity to come back and talk about this first season that we've had and kind of share some updates with where we are with the program.
Great, great. And before we do that, though, as I always do, I had the opportunity. I didn't get to a lot of games. I am a season holder. I got to one particular one, and that's when I met your grandson. Your grandson and your wife and daughter was behind me, and I didn't even know they were behind me. And I just, this little fella wanted me to know who he was because he kept kicking my chair. And he kept kicking my chair. And when I turned around, there he was. And man, I see why you're so happy to have him in your lives now.
Yes, indeed. And anybody that I talk to, upon just hearing that we were going to become grandparents, they kept saying, Coach, this is going to be the best thing in your life.
Okay.
And I didn't really fully understand or comprehend what they're talking about, but he has been such a blessing, such a joy in 2 years. I mean,
wow.
Just smart and with it and quick and picks up things, loves the gym, being at the games. It's just been so much fun for our family, so I appreciate that.
You know, it's interesting because I know the love you have for your daughter, and to say that now you have a grandson and is even taking it to another level, man, I would like to be in that house.
It's a lot of fun, Pastor. We spend a lot of time with him. He spends a lot of time with us. Obviously, with the basketball piece, it was the same way with Paris when we were raising her. Right. When you're coaching, your kids spend a lot of time around the team. He's picking up things that he's watching the guys do. He's saying things. So we're always careful about what we model and what we say, but it is a lot of fun.
Good, good. You think he's going to follow behind Papa? Because, you know, his dad is a basketball player, too.
Well, he's got the athletic genes from both sides. I mean, his mom was a pretty good athlete. His dad was an outstanding athlete. His grandfather, I won't say too much about that. But,
well, you don't have to. The world has spoken for you.
Thank you.
But this is going to be really awesome. How about the wife? I got a chance. I saw her at the game as well, but how's she doing?
She's doing very well. Thank you. Appreciate it. My biggest supporter.
Yes.
Absolutely appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, you know, Coach, I am just so excited when I see how does it feel to be on the college level? I mean, just the feel before we get into any of the technical.
I mean, it's a great feeling. I said this the last time I was here. Anytime you're a high school basketball coach, and I think if you were to ask or poll coaches across the country, every single one of them would say that their dream is to coach at the next level. So to actually have the opportunity to do that and now have a season under my belt, it's fantastic. We just got back. We went down to the Final Four, where they have the annual coaches convention, and just to be in the room with a lot of the guys that I idolized and looked up to and learned a lot from, it was just a real special feeling.
Yeah, how did they receive you? Because I know I hear that a lot, but I've always wanted to ask that question. How did they receive you?
Well, I had relationships with a lot of those guys being on the other side of the table, having players that they have recruited, so that was helpful. But just to now be, you know, I'm one of the guys. I'm in the group, so to speak, and it was a really good feeling.
You've been elevated to the front office in essence.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. You know, we have come to an end of another season, of our first season, and a lot of times people, or should I say, those who don't follow basketball, they just follow success. They want W's only. They don't understand that it takes time to build greatness. Very few coaches, if any, walk into a perfect scenario where you have the perfect point guard, shooting guard. Very few, and that's because maybe the coach before them had transitioned or retired. Right. But recognizing the fact that people really don't understand the technicalities that are involved in building a team. And before I ask you the question, my favorite coach beyond you now, it's always been Coach K. I'm a Duke fan. If you go in my office for my anniversary about 5 years ago, the anniversary committee went down there and had him and his team to sign a ball for me because I am a true Duke fan. I remember as a college student watching them criticize him. I mean, they floored him. The first 5 years, he did nothing far as they were concerned.
Right.
But he was building his team. And even his critics had to confess that, hey, this man was doing something that we didn't know. They wanted to fire him.
That's right.
Because he wasn't doing it. And that same year, he won the national championship. And that's when I learned not to criticize coaches, especially in their first 3 or 4 years, because they're trying to build. But help us to understand, help my audience to understand how is it, what do we need to do, or what do you need to do in order to build, and what goes into that?
Good question, and I too am a Coach K fan, and obviously anybody who watches basketball, the program that he built down at Duke is something special. If you remember when I was here the first time, one of the things we talked about that we wanted to set as a goal as a staff down at Delaware State was to really make sure we sort of not allow the scoreboard to determine whether or not we were winning or losing or having success. And just as you said, anything that's built to last, you got to have a firm foundation.
That's right.
And so we were working on changing the culture, changing the attitude of things, learning how to win, learning how to compete. And then in the long run, the scoreboard, the wins and losses will take care of themselves as long as the administration is patient with you and people understand that that's really what you're doing. And I thought we did a really good job with that this year. I'm really proud of some of the things that we were able to accomplish and talk in terms of changing the culture academically. We had guys, or our team, the basketball team, the men's basketball team, had the highest GPA of all the men's athletic teams on campus.
That must be that dean part of you came
That's
out.
that dean part. That's that discipline that we really stressed. The community service and being involved in the community. Not that it hadn't been there before, but we really stressed that. Just a whole family atmosphere and changing the culture. Now that we feel like we have that in place, and not to mention, and let me back up too, as you mentioned already, you're coming into a situation where you're kind of playing the cards that were already dealt to. But now we have a chance to put our imprint on the program, recruit and bring in the kind of guys that we think it takes to be successful, and hopefully you'll see us take off from here.
Yeah, but I was watching the game that I was at. I was watching. You could see Stan's hand on that team, and you also could see the frustration of them not being able to do what was asked of them. I'm trying to keep it positive because it is positive. You had to deal with what you had. A lot of people who are watching, they really don't know on a Division I level, the children who come in, the young people, the scholars who come in, they come in on scholarship. And that scholarship have a certain term on it. So let's say if you had the best player in the world, he gets his 4 years. But let's say you had the worst player in the world. He gets his 4 years.
He gets his 4.
So you can't just come in and say, here's my 15 guys. And I'm going to move forward. And I think the audience need to know that as a reality while you're building this team. Even if we don't get as many wins as we want, the reality of it is we're still building.
Absolutely. And the other thing, Pastor, I'd like to touch on is really the humanity piece to that. When you're coaching and you're a leader and you're dealing with young people and you're trying to mentor and model, basketball is a big piece. Obviously, you're talking about a basketball team, as you mentioned, they're getting athletic scholarships, but you're trying to teach them how to be responsible young men, how to be fathers and husbands and uncles and brothers. So you really got to kind of navigate that in a sensitive way. And it's not all about the basketball, but those guys have to understand that there are other obligations and responsibilities that come with that. And you can't just come in and say, oh yeah, that guy's not good enough, I want to get rid of him, he's got to go. You got to work with those guys and try to build them up. And I felt like the kids gave us everything that they had this year. It's a reciprocal kind of thing. They had to learn us, we had to learn them. It took a while, and I think you saw some progress over the course of the season where we got a little bit better as the year went on, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Because there were no blowouts. And that's the blessing part.
Yeah, we had some early. We had
maybe that's what I missed. I'm talking about towards the end. As you were coming towards the end, you start seeing some games where, man, we just missed it by this or the other. But I appreciate what you just shared, Coach. It speaks to you believing in developing the whole person. While you want the W's on the board, you want the greatest win you can get is when you can mentor someone to become a better human being.
Exactly.
So I'm really, and that's the kind of foundation that you're building, and I think that's what the community needs to hear, that it's beyond. Even though we want the wins, but it takes more. if they do well in, as I think one of my quotes is a public success but a private failure. We don't want that.
That's
we
right.
want both. Let's be successful in the classroom, and that's excellent. I mean, you may be one of the first coaches to be able to brag about that one, Mark. But to be excellent in the classroom, excellent on court, understand sportsmanship, all of that matters.
Look, Pastor, I had people who asked me during this season, how's it going, Coach? How's it going? And I would throw that comment out there about how well we were doing in the classroom and in the community. And then they would say things like, oh, I know the basketball's not going so well if you're talking about the grades. Not really understanding that these are student athletes. And
That's
the
right.
student part is first. And we focus on that. And again, the whole character piece, who you are and what you're about and what you represent is really what we were focusing on this year. Now the next step, the next layer, we'll get some bigger, better, stronger, faster basketball players, and you're going to see a few more wins.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. You say, and how's your recruiting going?
Well, today is a big day for us. Today is the first day of the national letter of intent that they can sign.
Okay.
And I can't comment on anybody until we get some. I got my phone right here. I'm keeping my eyes on it.
Okay.
We've gotten a few verbal commitments. We have commitments from 4 guys that I know have said, yes, we want to come to Delaware State and play. Pretty high-level guys that I think will help, will be program changers. But we can't actually commit or name those guys. But we've been on the road trying to identify guys who can play, but again, are high-character guys who can get it done in the classroom and who believe in the vision that we have for Del State. Like, I can't go out right now and sell the guys that we've won 4 NCAA championships or we won 4 MEAC championships. I got to sell a vision for the future, what we intend to do with the program, what Dr. Tony Allen is doing down at the university, what Alicia Gatson, our athletic director, has as a vision for the program. That's what we have to sell right now until we get to that point.
Right. And it won't be long. It won't be long because when you're building right, it always come together. And that's another hard task, too, even finding student athletes, because sometimes you can find the person who is excellent in their ability to play basketball but have no character and things. And so it's good that you're able to, as you're recruiting, all of that is a part of your equation.
That's the hard part. And right now, in the transfer portal, and again, for anybody who follows basketball, there are 1,200 kids, players, student athletes in the transfer portal who are unhappy at their current college university and looking to leave. So people are hopping around. It's sort of free agency in college right now. So really looking for loyalty, high character, guys that believe that they can stay at Delaware State and help us get it done is the task or is the challenge for us. And we're out there beating the bushes, trying to find them so we can put forth the best program that we can.
And you will. And we're going to go to a break in a minute, but, you've had an opportunity for a year now to be, well, not a whole year, but to be at Delaware State. One of my best jobs that I've had, and I've met some amazing people at Delaware State University. How have your experience been just with your colleagues at Delaware State?
It's been awesome. I mean, there really is a strong sense of community, and it's exactly what I was accustomed to, what I was used to coming from Sanford, where we've had that sort of experience. As I said, the community has been involved and supportive. The alumni base has been really strong. The administration, it's been a little bit different with COVID and not getting to meet people, particularly when I was first hired. A lot of people were still working remotely, so it took me a while to kind of put names with faces. But as we slowly get back to I guess what we call normalcy, now you're getting to see faces and kind of know personalities a little bit better. But it's a great place to be. I'm having a great time and looking forward to being there for a while.
You are African American, so it's going to be interesting asking this question. You're from the University of Delaware.
Yep.
How have they received you? Is the Stan Waterman outweighing the fact that you went to UD? Although your president went there as well, but how does that been working?
It's been fun, actually.
Okay.
Martin Inglesby, who is the head coach at the University of Delaware, we know each other and we've had a relationship, so we kind of go back and forth and jab a little bit. They're on the schedule, so we played them. That was the biggest game for us this year when we had UD come down to Del State, and the whole talk in the week was about, now you're playing against your alma mater. All of my teammates, the guys that I played with at the University of Delaware, sat on the Del State side, and they were right behind our bench cheering me on. So it was kind of cool to experience that. Great love for the University of Delaware, but right now I'm in Hornet mode at DSU, and that's my focus.
Yeah, and I see you brought me a Hornet shirt, and I'm going to definitely be wearing it. I appreciate that, Coach, because I'm a true Hornet fan as well. But when we come back, I just want to talk a little bit more about what we've been talking about, so we'll be right back. And we're back. Well, I feel honored. I'm on top of the world. We have the head coach for the Delaware State University men's basketball program, and certainly, while there may not have been a whole lot of W's on the board, I mean the character of the team is changing and shifting, and it was just been a very good conversation, Coach, having you with us, and I'm honored. I'm just honored to be in your presence.
Well,
so I'm going to keep talking until I can keep you here as long as I can. But I hope also that you get the players that you are certainly desiring to get, as I'm hearing your phone constantly going off. So maybe those are all good news. Is this your first experience with college level basketball?
This is, well, let me first of all say I'm honored, and it's my privilege and pleasure to be in your company.
Thank you for being modest.
But I had the opportunity to coach for 1 year as an assistant at Wilmington College before I started at Sanford, and that was back in 1990. That's how long ago.
Oh, wow, you're kind of old. I didn't know.
I know, Pastor Kid. Well,
1990. What was I doing in 1990?
I started young.
Okay, I think I was still in school. I mean, still in college in 19. Oh, yeah, I definitely was.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, which means it's been your life, and that's just awesome. So at Wilmington University,
yep.
You was the assistant coach.
Assistant coach there.
How did it work out?
It was an okay experience. The program was young at the time. And Paul Capodanno, who was the head coach at that time, who was one of my assistants at the university, brought me on as an assistant, and I was going out to do scouting for him and recruiting for him, and so sort of a light role. And then that was 1 year there, and then the opportunity at Sanford became available, and then I spent the next 29 years at Sanford School up in Hockessin. So now
the question is, now you were the dean at Sanford as well. So you left Wilmington College. Did you become dean then?
Became dean of students at Sanford, and also served in the role as the assistant athletic director.
Yeah, that's almost like an HBCU experience. They give you one job, but you got three others.
You wear a lot of hats. You wear a lot of hats.
Yeah. So you get an opportunity to run over to Sanford. How was that program?
Well, the program was in good shape. Gil Jackson, who is a pretty prominent community member here in the Wilmington community, Brown Boys and Girls Club, who was a mentor to me. Jack left Sanford to go and take a job at the University of Penn. Okay. So he became an assistant at the University of Penn, and then was the head coach at Howard University for a few years. But he left the Sanford program in pretty good shape. So when we came in, it was really just an opportunity for me to put my stamp on it. We won state championships in my first 2 years there, so that was a unique experience. And then, but to be able to build over that and have longevity and relationships that we formed again over the next 25 years was just unmatched.
Unmatched. When you were here last time, you shared how you had a whole lot of new friends when you were announced as being the head basketball coach at Del State. Do you still have a whole lot of those friends, or have they?
No, cause it's still new.
Okay.
It's still new, and we're just finishing the season, and you know, we had a lot of support. And I use that term we. I mean that. We have a lot of support. There were bus trips. There were groups from the Howard High School Alumni Association that brought a bus down to see games. Some of my old neighborhood friends from 9th and Poplar Street, where I grew up on the east side of Wilmington, took a bus trip down. Old college teammates continue to call and support. As I mentioned, the alumni base has been really strong. And just having the opportunity to stay in touch and build relationships, foster relationships with those guys have been really good. So I'm just looking to build on that. We were obviously impacted a bit by COVID again this year. We had to pause a little bit and cancel a game or two, and even went to a point where we had no spectators.
Right.
But we're coming back now. We're bringing people back, and we'll have good crowds in the gym. And I'm looking forward to building that relationship and recruiting more friends to come down and support
and more friends.
State.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I always wanted to ask a head coach that, because you all are so focused on the game, especially during game time. But now that I have an opportunity to ask a real coach that question, how does it feel personally to see people like your alma mater from Howard High School bringing buses and coming into the gym? I know you're not focused on that, but internally, how do you feel when you see that?
It's a great feeling. Anytime you feel like you have support from people and people are patting you on the back and encouraging you, that's positive, and you want that, and that's a great feeling, and everybody needs that.
Yes.
But you know, I try not to get too high or too low and stay even keeled, because sometimes those same people who are promoting you, when it doesn't go well, you know how that goes.
Well, I want to say to you that that's the Hornet way for real. I do believe, and I'm not a Hornet, although I've worked there for several years and I've certainly immersed myself into their culture. They with you when you're winning, but they will divorce you.
Absolutely.
So my whole goal while we were going through this whole development and building process was to make sure I brought you back, so that this community know you have done remarkable things in your first year.
Thank you.
I mean, it's not all in the W's. It's definitely, we want them, but it's not all in that. It's a whole lot of other stuff going on. But let me ask this question about the president of Delaware State. I really respect him highly.
Absolutely.
And I don't say that too often, especially in the climate that we're in, but he is one of those genuine people who make stuff happen.
Absolutely.
How does it feel working for a person such as?
Well, I can't say it enough. Dr. Allen is a remarkable man, an amazing man. The things that he is doing, the initiatives that he has, the vision that he has for Delaware State University, and he makes no bones about it, and he's unapologetic about it, and he'll tell you his goal is to have it become the most contemporary and diverse HBCU in the country.
Yeah.
And he's well on his way. I mean, I think when I look across the board and look at even the hirings, the new people that he's brought on board, I just feel like we're on the uptick.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be a part of it. But under his leadership and his direction, genuine, authentic, true, enthusiastic, but down to earth, and I can relate, and we can sit and talk just like this, but it can be professional and
That's right.
and business related when it needs to be as well. So a great leader for Delaware State University.
It's interesting. We had a homegoing celebration for Newt, and he was one of the speakers. I called him Sunday after I left church, because Chris Coons and I were talking, and I said to him, I said, Doc, you've become quite a preacher, because he doesn't mind sharing his faith as well.
No.
And that's shocking for the academic side, because most college presidents are very collegiate and they don't They don't want to be nowhere near the spiritual side of their lives.
Right.
They may have the spiritual side, but that stay over there while I'm over here. But he has no bone with quoting a scripture right over.
No, well, I was there at New Service, and I've seen Dr. Allen at many occasions and functions get up and speak, and I would say the same thing, that he's got some preacher in him.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I think is a difference with the HBCUs.
Yeah.
As compared to PWIs, I think professionally that a lot of times that people don't feel comfortable getting up and expressing their faith or sharing their faith. But I think I see it all the time in HBCUs, and certainly I see it with Dr. Allen.
Yeah, and I'm gonna I told him I'm gonna have to bring him in just to do a little sermon. Just maybe I can give him a little card or something.
And Chris Coons.
Yes. Oh man.
Every time I see him, I'm just amazed at it.
He did our scholarship right before COVID. He did our scholarship day, and man, he can preach. I mean, I'm not talking about a hooper, but he's such a solid person when it comes down, and he did a very good job. That's why when I got up and I said, listen, there's been 12 eulogies. I don't need to do another one because all of them did such a phenomenal job. You know, and since we were talking about Newt, I just, you know, we certainly miss him, but we thank God for what he's done with those young people that he was impacting as well.
Absolutely. And a friend of mine grew up in the same neighborhood and now following in his steps, so to speak, to watch what he has done over at Warner and wherever else he has been and touched the lives of so many people. Much respect to him. Yeah. And God bless his soul. Rest in peace. We'll miss him.
Well, I tell you, Coach, as we've been sitting here talking, I just been trying. I had a litany of questions I was going to ask, but it seems like you've given me what I needed in order to make sure the community who watches me understand that basketball is a science, not just on the court, off the court. And when you opened up the door from the start talking about that was the interview. I really needed us to hear that it's more than just the wins, and that's why I keep saying it. It's more than that. So what do you think will be well, before I go there, let me ask about the coaches in MEAC, because that's interesting sometimes too. How have they treated you?
They've been good for the most part.
Okay.
You know, and I say that again, a lot of the guys that I knew before I got there, but when you're competing against folks, it's a little bit different.
Okay.
And then I would say people were cordial, a bit more cordial. Okay. And now it's more competitive, and we haven't had the opportunity to have a lot of conversations. Okay. But I look forward to myself being new, but probably being one of the older coaches in the league, taking on a leadership role and getting those guys to understand that we can have more success if we work together. Okay. Instead of that crab in the barrel mentality and you know, you got to pull somebody else down to elevate yourself. That's not what it's about. That we need to pool our resources to make things better for the MEAC, to make things better for the student athletes that we coach and we serve. And it'll make the game better for all of us.
Well, that's good to hear, and I'm glad, because one of the coaches, a couple before you, I used to travel with the team, and it was always a lot of controversy going on, and I was always nervous to understand why, especially when you're one of the black conferences that on a Division I level, as a matter of fact, one of the only on a Division I level. But it's good to hear that things are better, collegial. How have you adjusted to the MEAC play, or do you not adjust and do your play?
No, I think you have to adjust. Okay. It's a different game. The MEAC is a men's league. Okay. It's a physical league. Okay. One of the things I learned this year, the officials allow you to play a little bit more, so the game's physical. It's a little bit tougher. When you look at our team this year, I thought one of the things we talked about, looking at everybody else in the league, that the guys, they look like grown men. They've been in the weight room. And we had some guys that look like high school guys. And there's a difference in the game. There's also a difference in the style of play. Okay. I like to play fast, but I also believe in being able to execute and being a tactician in the half-court set. So we slow the game down a little bit, and in the MEAC, it's a fast pace, you run and up-tempo. And so if we can be able to kind of to mesh those two things, I think we put ourselves in a position to kind of throw people off a little bit.
Do you have any predictions for next year?
No, I don't have any predictions. I'll know a little bit better if we get some of these guys that we're hoping that will come in. I can tell you we will be better than we were this year. That's always the goal, every day to be better than you were the day before. And I think we've done that with the foundation, but we're going to bring in some better athletes, some stronger athletes, and that's no knock to the guys we have. I love the guys we had
Matter of fact, you made that very clear.
And they gave me everything they had, and we had a great time, and it's hard to see them go. But it's time, and we are moving on, and we're going to have some better players and bigger players and stronger players, and I think the team's going to fare much better in the league.
You know, and I'm glad you shared that part, because I needed to hear that they gave you all they had. Because sitting in the stands, I know your style, and I didn't quite know that they were. I didn't feel they were, but giving someone all you have may not be good enough, but that's all they have.
That's all they have. And I couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah,
and I felt like we were limited in some of the things. I thought we were really sort of vanilla or generic, if you will.
I understand.
Because we were really focusing on the basics. And now, as I said, we get a chance to kind of implement some more strategic things, to do a little bit more exotic stuff, defensive strategies, and things that hopefully people that really know and understand basketball will see, or maybe they thought was missing this year. I'm not sure. But there's something in store in the future.
Now, we never had a chance. I know that you gained a lot of friends who wanted to work with you, but we never got a chance to know your coaches. You have, what, 3 or 4?
Got 3 assistant coaches, and my staff is dynamic. And I know I'm biased, but I'll say they're the best in the country. And when we were trying to put together a staff, again, I was looking for people who can enhance and maybe pick me up in areas where I might be lacking or falling short. And if I can just quickly go through the guys, the first thing I wanted to do was try to get an older guy with some experience in the business who kind of knows his way around everything. And I was able to find a guy, Horace Pappy Owens from Philadelphia, McDonald's All-American, former NBA draft pick, the mayor, the governor in Philadelphia, if you will. We go in the gym, he knows everybody, young, old, black, white, and you have to have those kind of connections if you're going to be able to recruit. And then I brought a young man, Shaheed Perkins, with me, who was my assistant at Sanford. We've been together for 9 years. And I think the number one trait you look for in an assistant is loyalty. Somebody that's got your back, that you can trust and you can go to. And he is that, but he's also excellent as a skill development guy. Played professionally over in Europe for 9 or 10 years, and development is a big key of improving as a team too. We bring guys in, and in the MEAC, we're not going to get all 4. We're not going to get probably any 4 or 5-star athletes. We're going to get some 2-star guys that we have to develop and make them become 3-star players, or 3-star players that can become 4-star players. And Shaheed does an outstanding job at that. And then my third assistant is Vern Dupree, who happens to be my son-in-law. And he is a whiz. If anybody knows and watches an old TV show, we call him MacGyver. The guy who can build a bomb out of a cardboard box. He can do everything. On the computer, he's there, he's organized, traveling, sort of an operations guy, hotels, that scheduling, all of that. He's on top of it. And we work really well together. So I really love the team that we have.
Well, it appears that you've put together a good team.
I hope so. I think so.
You did. But I like you used that. You called them old, but in actuality, seasoned. So I'm gonna tell them that you called them old. But that's good. You really understand the tech. And one of the things I've always been impressed with you on is that you understood the technical things that you need in order to have success. A lot of people see success, but they don't see how to get to it. And you've mastered that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
and I'm very grateful to do that. We're going to come back for our last segment, and we're just going to talk about a few other little things, and then we're going to allow you to share what you want to share with this community, because this community love you.
I appreciate
and we're going to keep that love rolling.
I appreciate
We'll
that.
be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome to Delaware State University, or otherwise known as Hornet Territory.
Not only are we the only HBCU in the first state, we're also the most diverse contemporary HBCU in the country.
My name is Kaylin Pride, a senior majoring in mass communications with a concentration in digital media.
And I am Corbin Weatherspoon, a senior majoring in engineering physics with a minor in mathematics.
We're here to give you a quick tour so that you know what's in store. DSU cares about its students and helping them achieve both their academic and professional goals.
Whether it be engineering, mass communications, aviation, computer science, or business. But to be honest, there's too many to mention. All I can say is Delaware State is dedicated to your success.
The university offers tons of opportunities such as career advisement, internships at Fortune 500 companies, study abroad with its international partners, academic support, and even direct access to groundbreaking research.
Now let's take you to where it all began.
Waterman Hall.
DSU got its start as a land-grant institution, known as a state college for colored students. In 129 years, DSU has become the most diverse, contemporary HBCU in the country, offering 44 undergraduate majors, 18 graduate degrees, and 5 doctoral degrees through its 4 colleges.
Now, let's check out a few of the things that make each college unique. In the College of Business, students can receive hands-on trading room experience with real-time financial data while studying management or working toward an MBA degree. DSU's aviation program takes flight through our own fleet of over 15 aircraft and experienced and dedicated instructor staff and a state-of-the-art flight simulator. DSU is simply the best flight education opportunity on the East Coast of the United States.
Or maybe you have dreams of becoming the next big recording artist, commentator, or host like my co-host.
The College of Humanities, Education, and Social Sciences
Offers a state-of-the-art music technology lab and recording studio to help you get started. We also have an incredible television broadcasting studio for students to find their place either in front or behind the camera. Also, our amazing applied research, neuroscience, physics, and so much more. And if that's not enough, we also love to brag on our top-notch honors program that empowers exceptional students.
DSU offers what you need to be successful, with incredible colleges programs such as the College of Agriculture, Science, and Technology,
the College of Humanities, Education, and Social Sciences,
the College of Business, and the College of Health and Behavioral Sciences.
And when you're not in a classroom, there are plenty of places on campus to experience college life. You can catch up with your study group in the William C. Jason Library, or just get fit in our Wellness and Recreation Center. The Wellness Center is 54,000 square feet of pure awesome. It has 2 full-size basketball courts, an indoor track, 2 large weight room areas, and a swimming pool. And just across from the Wellness Center is the center of student life here on campus, the Martin Luther King Jr. Student Center, or as we students like to call it, the MLK. It is a great place to socialize with your friends, hang out in the games and activities room, and even some snacks and DSU gear from the campus bookstore. It's also the #1 spot to participate in a number of student organizations and activities.
When it comes to the DSU culture, one of the first things that comes to mind is homecoming. During homecoming, the campus is not only flooded with students, but also alums too. The week is jam-packed with so many events and activities, from step show competitions, tailgating parties held by Greek organizations, to even the annual homecoming concert featuring the hottest artists. This week is truly the celebration of the year. Here at DSU, we believe in tradition and good vibes. Our swarm of more than 300 student athletes passionately compete in 18 NCAA Division I sports and have proudly earned MEAC championship titles, regional and national titles, and all academic honors,
which we love to display. Visit us online at www.desu.edu/admissions and schedule your personal tour at desu.edu/tour.
We hope you will join our DSU family.
And we're back. Well, it has been a very good conversation that I'm having here with Coach Waterman, who has done a phenomenal job with Del State already, talking about the character of the person as opposed to just their skill set. That matters to especially persons like myself who believe that you have to develop the total person in order to have a person being whole. Coach, the last question that I kind of have today is something that I've been watching in the press, paying the players. And I'd just like to get your feeling on it and talk a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Well, the game has changed just within the last year or two with the NCAA. allowing student athletes to now take advantage of the NIL, which they call the image and likeness.
Okay.
I would think back to even when I was playing, and I don't have to go that far, but you would go to a game and a guy would be playing and they're selling his jersey in the bookstore, and he doesn't get anything for that.
Yeah.
Or you go to, say go to a game at Syracuse, they sell out 35,000 in the dome at whatever that cost is, and parking, what have you, concessions. But after a game, the guy who's running up and down the floor has nothing. He's got to go back to the cafeteria and eat.
Yeah.
He can't even go out to a movie because you can't pay him, you can't get money. But now they have the opportunity to do that, so they can market their image or likeness and advertise for brands. It is impacting the recruiting game when you think about schools like us and the MEAC and the limited opportunities that we have right now for a student to do that versus a kid who can go to Kentucky and he's on the billboard for the car dealership or the restaurant. And so now kids are including that as they think about being recruited. How much money can I make? How much? What kind of contracts can you guarantee me for off the court stuff with things like that? So the game has changed.
Okay. Do you think that, just using your last analogy, do you think, or scenario rather, do you think that that is hurting? Now, I'm a firm believer that these young brothers and sisters should have always been given something. But do you think that their mindset of whatever is the best deal for me may be hurting, or is it not?
I think it's a contradiction because on the one hand, you have people who would say, well, they are receiving, a $30,000 or $40,000 education, a scholarship each year. But that's not enough when you think about the money that the universities, and particularly the NCAA, makes off of something like the NCAA tournament. Astronomical.
Yes.
Ridiculous. But so it's a contradiction. And 'cause people would say it takes the amateurism out of the sport. They're being paid now, so it's no longer... It's a professional sport, and that's what you're starting to see with things like the transfer portal and kids being able to move around and hop around. It's like free agency. It's a chance to go to the highest bidder, so to speak. But it creates an imbalance as you think about colleges and your ability to recruit and attract student athletes.
How do you fare that with building a young person's character who may not be ready for his character to be built, so he wants to leave you because you're trying to build him as a man, and yet he doesn't want to be built as a man. He just want to make that money. Well,
that's one aspect of it, Pastor, from the financial standpoint. But even the other point, which I think is even bigger, when you talk about character and discipline, and you're trying to instill that, the kids are able to run away from that now. Like, they don't like what you're putting down as rules and guidelines for your program, so they can just up and leave. Or again, highest bidder. I'm not really interested in helping this team win. Where can I go and improve my lot individually? So it is having an impact, a major impact on the game. And reform is all people are talking about across the country with the NCAA. I'm curious to see where it goes. I'm new in the game, but I was on the other side of it as a high school coach, where I was trying to guide young men to make sure they understood that when they had to deal with it. So I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable and having a good idea of what's going on. I'm just curious and anxious to see how it all plays out.
Well, that's something I've been following, and I'm going to see as well how it all plays out, because I do believe they should have always been paid. But I'm just worrying about, is this going to become big business, and it's going to take away some of the skill set?
It is big business.
Yeah, well, it's always been big. I mean, with the kids, just young people, and we'll just see how it all turns out. As we're now coming to the end of this time that we've shared together, I just want to know if there's anything you would like to share with the Wilmington community, any things that maybe I may have not asked, and you want to share. We want to hear from you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And the one thing I would like to say, and really, first of all, thank all of our supporters, people who have been behind the scenes, people who have been out to games supporting, all of the calls, the emails, social media. I couldn't ask for better support from my community.
Good.
And I mean that from the church to the neighborhood to the Alumni Association. The support has been amazing, and I appreciate that. And I want to encourage everybody to continue to support DSU and DSU basketball as we grow. I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to say, when I think about basketball, and it's kind of where our conversation has gone today, and it's athletics in general, it's a perfect parallel to life.
Yeah.
Same work ethic, same discipline, same attitude that it takes to be successful on the court or on the field is what you need in life. And if you do that, you're going to have success.
Yes.
I'm really grateful and thankful to have this opportunity to be down at Delaware State, and I promise you, I'm not going to mess this up. We're going to do a great job with it. We're going to have success with it, and it may not be measured in terms of wins and losses. It's going to take a little bit of time. Be patient with us. We're building a foundation. As I said, anything that is going to be long-standing, you got to have a firm foundation. That's what we're working on, and I feel really good about what we've done. We're laying the bricks, and you're going to see the fruits of our labor in the near future.
Yeah. Well, one thing I know for sure, if it can be done, you're going to do it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So I'm not even saying that just to say it to you. Those who I've had conversations with, and I have a lot of connections with Delaware State, if it can be done, he's going to get it done.
I appreciate
And that's
that.
why when your boss was sitting on the couch where you're sitting right now, and we were told that you were going to be the head coach, I said to him, if it can be done, he will get it done. So I'm very, very, very grateful for from your high school years up through now, you have really had a track record of wholeness. And that's not just wins on the basketball court, but even your family and your whole life has been a great success. So, Coach, thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to bringing you back, and I hope maybe we can bring in maybe some of the teammates. I don't know how those rules go, just so that the people can get that up close and personal over the summer. I just want to keep the community engaged.
Yeah, well, that would be great. I would love to have that opportunity. I look forward to them having opportunities to be in front of the camera, to engage with the community, for people to get to know them. And one of the other things I'll say, if I could take 30 seconds, being down at Delaware State, and I know this was my thought before I went down to Dover, oftentimes it was considered sort of a below the canal kind of thing. If you were upstate and you lived in Newcastle County, it was all about the University of Delaware. And if you lived down in Kent County in Sussex, it was Delaware State. I have the vision, or we have a vision, of making Delaware State our state university that encompasses the whole state of Delaware.
Wow.
So everybody, get behind us, come on out and support us. We would love to have you, and really appreciate any support that you could offer us.
And while I have you on the air and put you on the spot and make you do something I need you to do for me, I would like, if it's not against NCAA rules, I would like for your A team to play your B team as a community game here for my community. You think can we make that happen?
We might be able. I would love to do. I was going to say maybe if we could have a practice game, if we could have a scrimmage here and invite the community in, have an opportunity for our guys, maybe sign some autographs and get to know little kids in the church.
I would love, man. In this community would just go crazy.
We would love to do that. Let's make that happen. Let's make that happen.
Y'all heard him, and we're gonna work hard to make it happen. Because while you were sitting here, it just hit me. We have that gym over there, and I would love for that to occur. So we're gonna try to push that and see how it goes out.
That would be awesome.
We just don't want to break any rules.
No. We're not gonna break any rules. We can come out and hold a practice here. Have an open public practice. People can come in and watch us have a scrimmage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so very much, Coach. It has been a joy having you with us today. I'm looking forward to next season. They have not sent me my tickets yet, but I know I'm there. I got my same seat. I will be there. Tell your grandson I'm coming back. He didn't stop me from coming back. It's just that I got overwhelmed. I got very busy.
Understood.
But it has been a joy having you with me today. Anything we can do, whether it be myself or the community here at E-Zion or the Wilmington community, just know we're your friends. We want to do what we can to support you.
Thank you so much.
All right?
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. This is an incredibly exciting day for me, for my family, and I hope for Delaware State University and Delaware State University basketball program. Before I get into talking a little bit about myself and my background, I'd also like to throw out a few bouquets and thank a few people who have been very instrumental in getting to this point. Beginning with Dr. Tony Allen, thank you so much for trusting me and giving me an opportunity to be here. Our COO, Mr. Cleon Cawley, thank you. Our athletic director, Alicia Gatson, certainly we appreciate you, and also the members of the search committee. You all did a fantastic job. I can only imagine the caliber of candidates that you had to choose from, with Delaware State University on the rise and making a name across the country the way that you have. It is a very, very desirable position to be in, and I'm excited to be coming on board and being a part of this family. Again, as I said, this is an incredible opportunity for me to live out my dream of being a Division I college basketball coach. And I think if you were to poll high school coaches across the country, you probably couldn't find one who wouldn't tell you that somewhere in the back of their mind that every day, or at least at some point of the day, they might have dreamed about being on the sidelines and leading and having the charge and the responsibility of heading a Division I college basketball program. So I'm living my dream. Today, my dream is coming true. This is a dream job for me. I want to give a special thank you to my friends, my family, former players, teachers, coaches, colleagues who have all been instrumental in helping me get to this point. And when I look at this room and see the support from people that I now consider my colleagues, guys and women and men that I hope to be working alongside of, and maybe calling on you for support and advice, and asking you to share some of your knowledge and wisdom, I'm excited about that. And I think the presence of the people in this room assures me that there's the support and the resources here to achieve and accomplish the goals that we will establish for the basketball program. The text messages, the email messages, the phone calls that I've received over the last few days, unbelievable, from alums all across the country, local, and I'm a native Delawarean. I'm a person born and raised in the city of Wilmington, as was already stated, went to high school here, continued my education up the road in Newark and the University of and yeah, hopefully at some point, Rick, don't get disappointed in that. We got a University of Delaware guy, one of my former teammates out there, but again, it really does just assure me that the support that we will need to take this program to the next level and place it on par with Dr. Allen's vision of having Delaware State University become the premier HBCU in the country. That's a goal. That's a vision of mine. How do we do that? I think the first thing I'd like to do, and Coach Hill, let me congratulate you. Let me back up and congratulate you on being named our new women's head coach, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to work alongside you, and I'm sure we will have conversations about setting goals and how we hope to achieve them. But we want to establish a culture. I heard somebody say a new day, a new era, and that's indeed what it is. I'm hopeful that we will be able to create and establish a culture where we would do things with what I call championship standards. And as Dr. Allen said in the beginning, I'm not talking about from the scoreboard. And in my interview process, I mentioned 4 C's that I said we would focus on as we try to build a foundation and establish goals in this program. Classroom, obviously they're all student athletes, and that's where it begins. And I think the ultimate goal when we have young men and women come here would be the end goal is to receive that diploma. So in the classroom, we want to make sure we're competing. Just as you guys hate to lose on the court and on the fields, we want to be competing for the highest test scores in the classrooms and things of that nature. In the community, we want to build a relationship, foster a partnership with the community that we will have the support not only from Delaware State community, but from the local community, the city of Dover, the state of Delaware, the city of Wilmington. My vision is to have Delaware, the state of Delaware, behind DSU and supporting us and encouraging us and partnering with us to achieve the goals that I mentioned that Dr. Allen has already established for us. On the court, obviously, hopefully you will see a product, and Coach has kind of described her philosophy of what her teams look like and what her style of play might look like. I like to play fast and up-tempo as well, too, but I think one of the keys to the success that we've had, or I've had in the past, is that we've been able to play at 2 speeds. And we want to play fast, we want to get the ball out and have some exciting brand of basketball, but there are times when the pace is slow, the tempo is a little bit different, and you have to be able to execute in the half-court set. So you'll see, I hope that you will see a good combination, a good mixture of basketball that will be entertaining, that will be fun, but most importantly, producing and educating and leading and mentoring young men who will represent this fine university the right way, the way it deserves to be represented. I want to give a special thank you, and I'm going to ask a couple people to stand. My wife is here today. Robin, would you please stand? 32 years of marriage, and I don't have, I used to joke and kiddingly say that she was my director of basketball operations, but on the high school level, because she has always been a part and supported me in everything that we do, always in the stands, sometimes at practices, most of the times at practices, but team mom supporting us in any way possible, and The success that we have had, I will say we have had, I owe a great deal of gratitude to you, and I certainly appreciate you, and I appreciate you being a part of this and being along with me in this venture. So thank you, and I love you. My daughter, Paris, Paris is in the room, and quite a fine athlete, and I'm just going to brag a little bit while she's here. My daughter actually was in 2007, was the Delaware State Athlete of the Year, was a first team All-Stater, lacrosse, basketball, and field hockey. Played a little bit of basketball and lacrosse at Brown University, so quite a student as well, and actually earned a spot on the USA national team, on the lacrosse team. So I couldn't let that go without acknowledging that, so I wanted to throw that out there. My son-in-law, Vernon, was in the room with my newest prized possession, my grandson, Cairo. Hopefully you all will have a chance to meet them. But I say all of that just to make sure that everybody understands me as a person, and family is huge to me. Family is important in everything that I do. And I hope to bring that to Delaware State University basketball. We're going to be a family, and there are coaches and players here. I've had the opportunity already. I've been reaching out to the former or the returning players and had a chance to conversate. I wanted to introduce myself and have them have a chance to talk, and we started that process already. I think the immediate goal for me right now, again, is to get to know our players and have them get to know me, kind of get a feel for where we are and what directions we need to go in, have an assessment of the roster that we have, establish and put together a coaching staff that will help achieve the goals that we will set once we have a chance to figure out what direction we're going. But to come back in full circle, I guess I'm going to finish where I started when I said that, again, this is an incredible, incredible day for me and an incredible opportunity for me. I'm so excited to be a part of Delaware State University, and I say that to you, if you understand, if anybody has any experience, I'm coming or leaving a program where I've been for 30 years. And hadn't done anything different. I've done the same thing as a dean of students, as the athletic director, and as a basketball coach for the last 30 years. But I'm really excited about the new opportunities and the new ventures. And again, making sure or doing my best to ensure that Delaware State University basketball, again, is on par with the awesome, awesome leadership by Dr. Tony Allen in the direction that the university is heading, again, in becoming the premier HBCU in the country, academically, socially, and then because we're in this athletic banquet or facility on the basketball court. Thank you, and I'll take questions. Certainly we'll take questions at the end if anybody has them. Thank you all.
And we're back. Great show. Great show. All I can say is hats off to Coach Waterman and his team down there at Delaware State University, those coaches who coach with him. It has been a good show. I'm grateful that he's doing something beyond the basketball court. He's doing something with those young people that is just unbelievable. And the reason why I say it's unbelievable, because most coaches are only concerned with how many wins they can get. But his goal is to have a win in the classroom, to have a win in their lives, as well as on the court. So that is what I call holistic, and I'm just grateful that God has given us an opportunity here in Delaware. And he made a comment about making Delaware State the premier and the state school. It has become that and will become that with his leadership. So I'm just grateful that we had an opportunity to talk with him today, and I hope and trust you learned something. Feel free, if you know some persons who are outstanding athletes, to try to communicate with his office. You never know what way it goes, but we want to take care of our kids, and we want to take care of those from this community. So if you have some young people and you got some family members who you know can play, now I'm not just talking about those who you may think can play, but if you know they can play, give them a call. Try to make sure we're taking care of our own. Delaware State is on their way somewhere, and we want to make sure that we play our part in making it happen. Again, Coach Stan, we want to thank him for coming and being with us, and I'm looking forward to having something over the summer with his team as we talked about, and we'll keep you posted as it happens. Again, I want to thank you. Don't forget, we have two live services every Sunday at 9 a.m. and 11:30. We also have our 5 a.m. meditation and prayer every Sunday and every Wednesday at 5 a.m. in the morning. You may say, who gets up that early? 200 to 300 individuals will get up, and we are together every week. Don't forget, our Bible study is every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Follow us. Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Zion Fair Baptist Church. Look forward to seeing you till the next time. God bless you real good.